This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
I like it. Can you do a countdown real quick, Daena?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, use like you're yelling at that girl from Snapchat. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
That is not
4.
how you yell at people, girl.
You really want to yell?
Yeah. She was like 1, 2.
Hey everyone, you're listening to The Public Affair with me, Andrew G. I see someone different every episode, but do me a favor, keep it between us.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Andrew G, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Public Affair. First of all, I just want to address that, yes, we are in a different studio. I did this on purpose because, sometimes change is different, right? Just much like my next guest, she likes to make changes in people's lives for the better or the worse, or for most time the better, make things more beautiful. Change is always, sufficient in people's life. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now listen, before we continue, I definitely want to use this opportunity to thank you guys again so much for all the love and support that you continue to show The Public Affair. And of course, to Josh, who's producing this episode. Thank you guys so much. Rogue Media Network, truly appreciate it. And I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. Now, before we continue with this exciting episode, which I'm so excited to meet this guest and get to know her a little bit more, we're going to just give a shout out to just a few of our sponsors of this episode of The Public Affair. Then a lot of people like to side-eye me when I'm doing this part. Okay. So this episode is brought to us by David Santabanez with Linear Real Estate. He is the #1 sales agent in his office. That's right. He's going to help you buy a home or sell your property. If you guys don't know what you're doing when it comes to buying a new house or whatever the case may be, my boy David is going to make sure that you are involved in every aspect of the process, step by step, which is one of the reasons why he's still the #1 sales agent at Linear Real Estate. And if you guys are trying to sell that old house of yours to move into something better, my boy David's got you. He's truly the best realtor in town, hands down, no questions. David Santabanez, thank you so much for all you do for me on the show. I truly appreciate it. Of course, to my girl, Anika Armstrong with Armstrong's Bayou Cafe. Yes, that's right. Serving the most authentic Creole cuisine with a wide selection of signature crab cakes, pastas, seafood, and more. Listen, stop asking me what do I get when I get there, because she has a build your own pasta special right now where you can just put like chicken and crawfish tails in it with that delicious, unique Creole seasoning. You guys, it makes me want to slide in DMs. I absolutely love it so much. Armstrong's Bayou Cafe. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, the Blue Star RV Services with my boy Manny Guerrero. Listen, he's a mobile RV tech who can fix all RVs, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and so much more. And let me also those food trucks too. I know a lot of my friends like to have food trucks. They like to have food trucks and things be breaking. Call Blue Star RV Services. He's gonna go out there and make sure everything's working. All right, because me and Daena are hungry. We're hungry. It's giving French fries and cheeseburgers. Okay. Okay. And listen, he deals with the warranty companies, so you guys can be saving a little bit of money. Just pay him and his team a small service fee, and they have got you no matter where you are. Blue Star RV Services, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, to Lucas Pizzeria with Jesse and Tanya Sotomayor. You guys, 3125 Bellmead Drive, 3125 Bellmead Drive, 3125 Bellmead Drive, serving up the best Italian pastas, New York-style pizza, handcrafted cheeseburgers, Mexican hot dogs. It is so delicious. I love it so much. It is perfect to take the family when everybody doesn't know what they want. And so everybody wants a little bit something different. Their menu is so big, and it's only getting bigger. Go check them out, 3125 Bellmead Drive, Lucas Pizzeria. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. And of course, we're not going to go on without thanking my boy Jeff Davis, the Texas car plug at University Mazda Kia. Hit him up to get the best deal on a brand new or pre-owned vehicle. Listen, if your credit is not crediting, like some of us it's not crediting right now. And if it's good, or if it's good credit, if you have no money, listen, whatever. My boy Jeff Davis is going to make sure that he works super hard to get you the best deal on any new or pre-owned vehicle on the lot. He's truly the GOAT, so pleasurable to work with and so easy to talk to. Jeff Davis, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. I truly appreciate it. All right, guys. Like I said, I'm super excited to have this next guest onto the show. She says that she's nervous, but no, she's not, because I've been stalking her all week, and she's got a little mouthpiece on her. I know she does, but she's going to keep it professional, darling. And she looks gorgeous. Her heels are healing. The dress is dressing. I love it so much. My very special guest is doing something in town that I don't see a lot of people doing. There might be a lot of people doing it. I just don't see a lot of people doing it. She does interior design, exterior design, and renovating, and more with Daena Gomez Design Studio. My very special guest, Daena Gomez, is on The Public Affair. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. And can we just address that? No, we're not related, because my last name is Gomez too.
I know. Yes. Yeah. No, we're not related.
We're not related. I had Cameron Gomez on the show twice, and people ask, "Are we cousins?" No. I'm not. No.
Right. And it's so funny because you have Andrew G and I have on my snap Daena G.
Oh, for real? Yeah. Okay, so you could just be Daena G.
Yeah.
Now, Daena, what do you like?
So it's Daena, or you could just call me Daena.
Okay.
Just because the way it's spelled and the way you pronounce it.
Right.
And since I started school, oh my gosh, I always run into the issue of my name being misspelled or
But what's the government name?
Daena. So it's Daena.
But I need to call you Daena then.
Daena.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want you to call me out of my name, girl. You know what I'm talking? Listen, I want to start with violence. Can we please start with violence? No, I do. Yeah, and you want to know why I want to start with violence? Because this is a real occurrence. And you don't have to name names, right? But this is a real thing that entrepreneurs such as you and myself go through all the time. People think that everything is peaches and cream all the time.
Oh, no.
No, it's not, right? Now that you're doing something with your life, people want to come for you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, are you referring to the Snapchat?
Okay, so I was yes, I was in bed this weekend minding my own business, and I was going through your Snapchat, and you popped off at the mouth, girl. I don't know if you were ready to throw blows with somebody. Somebody obviously was testing your gangster, and you were ready to take it there.
Yes. So, and then my heart pressure go up, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, sure. So I guess, without calling the person out, because I'm not trying to get jumped either. You know what I mean? But what took you there?
Oh my gosh. So... and I'm not gonna put names, obviously. Right?
Obviously not, yeah.
But I mean, now that you're asking, it was just a whole situation.
Yeah, sure.
And again, social media.
Yeah, right.
So my name came up.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, people are always gonna talk, and I know people talk about me or whatnot, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But the moment that you call me out of my name, it's like, okay, game over.
It's game over. Okay.
But obviously, I was like, okay, let me keep it professional. Let me just ignore, move on.
Sure.
But it was bugging me in my head because I'm like.
But people don't realize, Daena, how hard it is for us to keep it that way. Listen, I've been saying for 5 years, I'm not going to address those situations, this and that. People will just push you. And then once you get there and your gangster comes out.
And I'm the same way. Like, you know what? Whatever.
Yeah,
There's a reason they talk behind my back because that's where they belong, right?
Exactly. Oh, okay. I never used that one.
Sorry.
No, here's the thing. What people forget is that we are human. People forget at the end of the day, when all is said and done, we are human. We have our limits. We have our breaking points. And the reason why I want to bring it up, not, obviously to take away from what you're doing, but I was just in a situation like that recently as well. And where I was like, oh, it's up and it's stuck now. Like, that's it. I've let this go on for way too long. You know what I mean? I ended up addressing it with said person and we've moved on, I hope. So, no, I think what people think is that when you are doing something, like you're obviously, gaining a lot of notoriety in your business, which congratulations to you, and, obviously doing really, really well. Once you're doing that, people will find anything to try to take that from you.
Right. Bring in that negative.
So we could sit here on camera all day and be like, oh no, I don't let that get to me. And, I'm just above that and I just have to move. No, we're pissed off in 2025.
Right.
Okay? Yeah. How do you move on from a situation like that? What do you think of in your mind that tells you, you know what? Okay, it wasn't even that serious. Move on. I'm done.
I mean, in the moment, and it brings me a lot to where I stand now as a woman, where I've grown to where I don't let stuff get to me. Now I'm just like, okay, I brush it off and move on because I am too busy every day
to be dealing with this.
But then there's those times I'm like, okay, hold up. let me pause. Let me address what I got to address. So it's like I have to address it, but I try to keep I think 3 times before I address it. Like, what are you gonna say?
Good for
you.
Okay.
Give myself room, but yeah, I mean, it's just one of those situations. Sometimes you do have to address it and let people know before, because if I feel like if you don't address it, then people are just gonna walk all over you.
They're just gonna keep doing it,
and then I
used to believe that if you didn't say anything, they would just eventually go away. That's not true. You have
some cases,
you have
yes
to say,
and no.
You have to address it though.
But then you still have to address it to make sure they know. Oh, okay,
I'm not to be fucked with.
Exactly, like I have to.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why I'm telling you too. Like I know with personally, I was just like, okay, I'm reaching out to said person. We're having a talk. That's it. This can't go on anymore. This is stupid. This is beneath us. What is the issue? Right. Like we were Cardi B, what is the reason?
Right.
Yeah, but I hope that you were able to move on from that,
Oh, completely.
Yeah,
Which it was finally addressed and it got taken care of. And then the next morning I woke up, it was like, I don't even remember.
Okay, there you go. And you don't want to fight neither. You're too pretty for that.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to see you on baddies.
That's beneath me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm
not
that was a moment that I went under my standards that I was like, let me address this real quick.
Good for you.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. I can't fight, but I have people. So I do.
I mean, I'm not a fighter, but I mean, in middle school, I defended myself.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But now, I mean, you got to grow out of that. Now it's about communicating and hey, what's going on?
Gotcha.
What's the issue, right?
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. But you grew up here in town, right?
Oh yeah, South Waco.
South Waco. Okay, shout out to you. Well, I mean, I'm not from South Waco, but they estimate me heavy. That's what I'm saying. I have people there, but they are like in South there. So, what was your life for you like growing up?
I mean, so I come from a Hispanic household.
Okay.
My parents are immigrants. I mean, growing up, it was just a full Hispanic household. Like
Yeah.
Mexico, my parents came from Mexico and
Yeah.
everything. We grew up as in my parents were huge believers. One, English is my second language.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You speak amazing English.
Thank you. My parents were believers. You will learn Spanish.
Okay.
In the household, we speak it, we write it, everything.
Absolutely.
Once you start school, you will learn English there.
Okay.
So obviously, again, my parents are immigrants, so they didn't know English.
Sure.
Which now I understand. So once we
Right.
started school, me and my brothers, it was just like we walked in and all these kids knew English, and we were like, huh? Like we could only communicate in Spanish.
Yeah.
But we learned. I mean, my parents were together for many years. Now they're divorced.
Okay.
They divorced now that we're older.
Sure. So they pretty much stood in it for the kids, for the most part, or just other things transpired.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. Okay. You don't have to get into it if you don't want to. I don't want to cut any wounds. So.
No. But I mean, we grew up. Both of my parents were very present, hardworking, both of them.
Right.
I want to say, I didn't really play sports.
Sure.
I mean, in middle school, I did volleyball for maybe 1 year.
Right.
But then it didn't cut it for me. But it was more because I would get in trouble. In middle school.
Got you.
So that's why I couldn't stay in sports.
Right.
But my parents were very supportive. They were there. My middle brother, because I'm the youngest of three.
Oh, really?
So I'm like the baby of the house.
Yeah.
So my middle brother, he played baseball, and my dad was always there. Both of my parents were very supportive.
Good deal.
So now going into the middle school part, it was, I mean, I love sports, and even now I love sports, soccer and baseball.
Right.
But I just couldn't, just because. It was more because I was very mouthy.
It sounds like sports weren't your thing. Maybe you tried to make it your thing.
I tried.
Yeah, you tried to make it your thing.
But then it was like, when you're in middle school, you just get caught up and, So.
I don't know. I can't relate, girl. Well, I know. I will say I always had a mouthpiece on me, too, but I was never fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, I think I had 2 incidents in middle school. But I think it was more because I had to defend myself.
Absolutely.
I had to stand up for myself.
I agree with you 100%. Okay, so grew up, and it sounds like for the most part, the household was a loving household, very supportive. And
yes, loving parents. Like I said, they were very hardworking.
Do you think that influenced your entrepreneur mindset? And
100%.
Yeah?
100%.
Okay.
And I think, and like I said, both of my parents were very present. But then there was times where they weren't present.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't understand why they weren't there for certain occasions.
Sure.
Obviously, my mom would work, or she would sell food from home. On Sundays, my dad would work long hours.
Right.
And there was times to where me and my brothers wanted, like, on Sundays, because Sundays is like family time, right?
Sure, yeah.
And they were always working.
Okay.
Or even, just on the weekend, they would work even throughout the weekends for like months or whatever. And we didn't understand, like, how come we don't go for vacation or something, right?
Okay, I see.
So now that we're older, now we understand the reason why. Obviously, at the time, well, now thank God, they're residents.
Right.
But at the time, they were immigrants, so it was like, they
weren't trying to go out all the time. And...
Right. Okay, but then again, they had 3 kids back at home.
Absolutely.
They had to support the home. At the time, like, we're kids. We didn't know.
No, I agree with you. I definitely relate. 100%, yeah.
So I think that also where now that I look back, I see the sacrifices my parents did, but they also did sacrifices. They sacrificed our time as their kids.
Yeah, for sure.
So now it's like, I look back and I'm like, I don't want to do that with my son, because I have an 11-year-old, almost 12-year-old.
Oh, do you really?
Yes.
What's this?
That's my baby.
You look so good.
Thank you.
No, I'm 33.
I'm 30.
Are you 30?
Yeah, 33.
Are you 33? I thought you were younger than me. I'm not gonna even lie. I thought you were like in your mid-20s.
Oh, thank you.
I am not kidding.
I get that a lot.
Okay, I get that I look older.
No, I thought you were like 30, 32.
I want to be 21 forever, Daena, okay?
But when people ask me, they're like, how old are you? I'm like, 30.
Okay.
And even my son, I'm like, when they ask him, how old is your mom?
Sure.
And he's like, my mom's 30. I've been 30 for the past 2 years.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
I'm like, I'll stick to 30.
One thing that I really like talking to, because, we got to speak very briefly on the phone prior to you coming onto the show. And one thing that, you're in business for yourself right now, and you're doing, you're interior design, which congratulations to you again. And, we saw a post that a local restaurant, Don Carlos, had shut down recently, which I did not know.
Yes.
Because I love Don Carlos.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
I do.
been there.
And, you know, I know a lot of the people that were working there or at least one person was making a post about how they were off that day, I believe, and found out they no longer even have a job. Like nobody has a job ever again. You know what I mean? And I feel like that was something that you and I got to talking about because we really realized how there's no like job security. Do you think that there's more job security in an entrepreneurship than there is at like a regular 9-to-5?
Oh, I personally, 100%.
Right.
And when I shared that post, because yes, we did talk about it on it. When I saw, well, somebody shared it.
Yeah.
And then I went to like his Facebook page and then I read her post. And then I was like, oh my gosh. And then I started looking at her pictures because I was like,
yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if she was a single mom or if she wasn't,
Right,
but just
right.
from the pictures, I was like, maybe she's a single mom.
Regardless, that's how she was making her money.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was like, she was off that day. And then it's like the next day, it was like, she didn't have a job. Well, not just her, but everybody did not have a job. I was like, oh my gosh, like that is the reality that we live nowadays.
Exactly, 100%.
So when, you know, I shared it and I made a comment on there and it was like, yes, that is actually true. That's why. And I'm not against people that are in their comfort zone on their jobs Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Like, hey, more power to you, right?
Okay.
Because I've been there before.
I'm still doing that.
So it's like, you know, if that's your comfort zone, if that's fine.
Right.
But me personally, because I've already had that experience, it's like, no.
Okay.
I won't. I'll rather I don't want to say sacrifice, but I'd rather invest my time and everything into something that's mine, like I am now.
Right, exactly.
Because it's my business. No one's going to take that away from me unless I'm just one day and I'm like, you know what? I don't want this, and I just throw it to the trash, which I don't think I would because I've invested too much time and money into it. But it's in your 8 to 5, it's like you can be there right now, and then by the end of the day, it's going to be
You're
like
done. I've seen that
and
happen.
I've experienced, well, not me personally experienced it, but in my past with coworkers, it was like they were there, and then all of a sudden the manager would come and grab them at 3-4 o'cks.
At the end of the day.
After they worked
the whole day.
Yeah. So it's like they already knew what they were going to do.
The way they expend you is so crazy.
It's so crazy. And then they wait until the end of the day, and they're like, you know, whatever reason it was, or, you know, whatever reason. I'm just going to keep it at that. And you just sign a paper, and it's just like...
And then it's over.
And then we'll come pick up your check on Friday.
Right.
And you're done.
Nah, just mail it to me. And you know, too, like, I'll tell you, a lot of my sponsors, like, one that I can think off the top of my head, like, Banda's Hauling Service. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of them just got tired of working the 8 to 5, got tired of the inconsistency, schedules changing, you know, whatever. And people are just, they don't want to take a leap of faith to invest all their time, and instead of, you know, somebody else's thing, to do their own thing. You know, like, you're good at something. You have a niche for it. And people, I'll tell you too, like, same. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a mindset thing that you just have to, you're right. You have to sacrifice for it.
You have to sacrifice. And whenever, not my last job, but one of my last jobs, I was there always. Like, it was 8 to 5, but I was always there from 8 to 6 and 7.
Yeah.
So now I was sacrificing my time that I could spend with my son.
Right.
So a lot of times I had someone to watch him until 7, 8 o'clock at night because work wasn't getting done. Or even then, I would leave at 7, 8 o'clock at night, and there was still stuff to be done the next morning. I'm like, and I would still come home stressed thinking about, oh my gosh, I've been there all day, and I still got all this to do tomorrow. So that place, I'm not gonna say names.
No. But shout out to that place. They know who they are. Okay. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm not gonna lie.
It was a place to where it was just mentally drowning.
That's any job.
Well, I've been at other jobs, and it wasn't nothing like that. It was me working my 8 to 5.
Okay.
Like, you know, I mean, every job's gonna come with the stress.
But you have to set boundaries, though.
Yes,
you do have to set boundaries.
And at that job, it was I was just so dedicated to it, to where, and I loved my job.
Yes.
There, so I was so dedicated to it. So I was willing to sacrifice the extra time.
Yeah.
the stress every day. And I would wake up the next morning and it was like, everything I did the night before, it was worthless because the next morning they would call me and be like, this happened. So then I'm like, oh my gosh, I just spent hours on those jobs last night. And you mean to tell me the next morning it's
something's wrong or something? But let me tell you something. My regular job, and if y'all do your homework, I work, they know not to call me on my day off or when I'm doing this. You have to set boundaries.
I didn't have boundaries at that time. Yeah,
you have to set boundaries. It's not a disrespect thing by no means, but it's a respect thing.
It was, yeah. And see, at the time, I didn't know set boundaries just because I was just so dedicated to it.
I got you, girl.
But then it was like, stuff started happening.
Right.
And then I was like, and then I finally realized, I was like, I've invested so much time to this place, long hours, which, I mean, I was still getting paid, right? Sure. Overtime. So I think that's why I was also doing it because being a single mom, I was like, okay, this is all overtime. Like, they're letting me do as much overtime it's needed, right?
Right.
So I think also I also did it for that because single mom, it was like, and I had a kid back home. It was just so hard. So I was just like doing it.
I got you. One thing that also struck me when we were on the phone is that I kind of want to dive a little bit into this too. One thing that drove you to go into business for yourself and to go as hard as you did was a long-term failed relationship. And so I wonder, and please share what you will, right? Because, I don't know if this is your son's father, and I don't by no means want you to disrespect anybody.
Right.
Yeah. But, I think for me, a lot of people, I should say a lot of women, right? And please correct me if I'm wrong because you're standing for women, okay? But
yes, women empowering women.
Yeah, okay. But a lot of women in a quote unquote semi-traditional relationship, a lot of the men, they're the ones that go work and everything like that. And a lot of women get comfortable with, I don't have to work and I don't have to do anything. And then they find out the man is like doing stuff he may not have business doing. And then the woman is left with nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I wonder how much of that influenced you to go into, go hard for your business.
I think if you would have known me, let's see, my son is now 11, fixing to be 12.
Yeah.
I think if you would have known me like 4 or 5 years ago, you would not recognize the woman that I am now.
Oh, really? I need pictures. We need to see pictures. We're going to stalk her Instagram. Yes.
Not physically, but more on the mentally.
Oh, okay.
And maybe on the physical too, because I was
Were you always on edge? Like, were you always just like...
No. Yeah. And I will clarify this. It wasn't with my son's... It wasn't with his dad.
Okay, gotcha.
No. Okay, not with his dad. His dad... To this day, he's an amazing dad, and we co-parent to the best.
Oh, shout out to dad! There you go.
Yeah,
okay,
props to him.
We need men like that. Men, come on! I'm standing for the men. We got to be like that.
Yeah, and even on the co-parenting part,
for sure.
I mean, I don't know if you hear, but a lot of times you hear that the co-parenting, it's like
it's trash.
Yeah, it's like they can't even be in the same room.
Yeah.
And me and his dad, I mean, we at the beginning we kind of went through a little rough patches,
like anybody.
But now it's like. We sit on the phone and we chit chat, and obviously related to our son, but it's like I can't complain. Versus from what I hear from other people that I know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so thankful for
that he's present and does
very
things.
Present.
That's so good.
I give
Shout out to dad. Yeah,
all the praises to him.
Good for him.
He's a really good dad. But in going to your question, it was actually my second relationship. It was my 6-year relationship.
Okay.
I was in my early 20s, so I didn't know. I hadn't experienced actually being like, I have never actually been married. Okay. So, but I've been common law married. After 6 months in the state of Texas, you're common law married. So I had never experienced it. So obviously he's a little bit older than me, like by 4 years, I think.
Okay.
So he had already been out and about. He had already explored, and then when he met me, he was like, "Oh." He
might want to settle down with you.
Well, that was the thought.
That's
right?
what he said.
Right. Okay. And not only that, but he knew that I guess, how do you say? I wasn't experienced as he was.
Okay.
Because I had a 2-year-old at the time. Sure. And he knew that I had just got out of the relationship, and that was the only relationship I had been in. Right. So he was like, "Oh, she doesn't really know."
Like you're naive and...
Right. Yeah, she hasn't been out and about versus him.
We all know him.
Yeah.
I don't know him. I do not know him. No, okay.
It wouldn't surprise
Girl,
me.
I don't know who you're talking about. Don't get me beat up on my show, please. I'm so tired. Yeah, these dudes, like, you were referencing me. No, I wasn't. Stop. You wish.
Hey, if the shoe fits, go for it. Okay? But, so, I mean, we get along, and then we ended up moving in together. At first, I think it's like everything or every marriage.
Yeah,
At the
sure.
first, it's all pink and butterflies and the rainbows.
Everything's good.
Yeah, and the way I was raised in a Hispanic household, it was, my mom and even my dad, they both taught me how to cook. My mom was very like, whenever you grow up and you get married, you have to attend to your man. Like,
sure.
You have to be the woman of the house.
Right.
Like, you got to take care of, like I have, your dad takes care of the outside. I take care of the inside, take care of you guys. Everything has to be done. So whenever we got together, and then let me say this, he is a very Hispanic man. Like, he's from Mexico, so he has the same culture that he comes from where I come from.
He sounds like my type.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to, impede on your,
No.
I was just a joke. Sorry, go ahead. Very Hispanic Mexican man, yeah.
Very,
no
like,
English.
What's the word in English?
Machismo.
Yes.
You can say it in Spanish. Everybody that watches the show is Spanish. Yeah,
he was a very machista guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he had his moments where I'm not going to say in the whole 6 years it was bad. No, it wasn't. We had our good family times. But that's where I learned after I left the relationship. Because let me tell you, I went through it within that relationship.
So were you like not, I guess, working and kind of just letting
him
take care?
I have always worked.
Okay.
Yeah. No, so I have always worked since 17?
Yeah, sure.
And up until now. But there was at one point in the relationship to where I wasn't working.
Yeah.
I had lost my job. And obviously he was taking care of the household, paying for the bills. He would give money for the groceries. And obviously at the time, he was a drinker. He would want to go out.
Yeah, girl.
And
oh, God. Trying to fight.
Yes. Friday, Saturday after work, he would just call me and say, "Hey, are you home?" Yes, I'm home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go drink with the guys. And at the time I was so like I didn't know any better, and I was like, okay,
like, sure.
Yeah, like
Right.
And there was a time to where there was some different occasions to where he would throw it in my face like, "You have this because of me."
Oh.
I take care of the house. Yes.
Yeah.
I take care of the household because of me. And it was like, okay, what I do does not count. Right. So at the time,
like, your fat ass got fed, bitch. Like, what are you talking
like, I cook for you. I wash. I clean. Like, I do everything.
You do your wifely duties.
Exactly.
Okay.
I would do everything because that's how I was raised.
So what's wrong?
So to him, it was like, and it goes back to him being a machista.
Okay.
So that was the biggest thing.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
At the time, obviously, I wasn't mouthy. I would just bow my head, and I was like, okay, whatever. And he, oh my gosh, like I just went through it. I was called every name of the book.
Oh, girl, I'm so sorry.
He cheated on me many times, and I still stayed. Like I went through it.
Sure.
And so I decided I was like, you know what? I'm done. Like,
this is crazy.
And not only that, I went through a phase to where I was in a depressed phase.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was, I think, out of everything that I went through in that relationship, I think being depressed,
what was the hardest?
Not knowing who I was.
Right.
It was the worst.
6 years is a long time to conform to the lifestyle that you did. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I understand.
Just being put down as a woman was one of the biggest things to me. And when I finally was like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
So I finally cut it off, and then I was like, that's it. So I moved out of the apartment that we were in. I was like, okay, let me find something of my own that I know that I got. So I ended up renting a house here in South Waco. And there slowly, I was like, oh, I can pay for my own rent. I can pay for my own bills. Like,
just finding yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So I started to see that I didn't need that person. Because at the time, those 6 years, I only knew what was in between both the four walls and that person.
That's it.
Because that's all I knew. And I didn't think there was anything outside of that.
Right. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this exciting episode of The Public Affair. My very special guest, Daena Gomez, is here now. Before we continue, I definitely want to use this opportunity to give a shout out to just a few more of our sponsors of this episode of The Public Affair. This episode is brought to us by Banda's Hauling Service with Julian and Banda. That's right. They rent dump trailers. You fill it up, they haul it away. They also do junk removals and tree brush removals, and they haul cars in and out of town. And listen, you guys, they're also offering roll-off dumpster services as well. So when you guys are having those big giant parties, or if you guys are getting ready to spring clean, my boy Julian Banda is going to make sure that you guys are taken care of, 100% reliable no matter where you are, and so affordable. He's truly the best. Banda's Hauling Service, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, the Chefito's Kitchen with Al Gutierrez and Adriana Gutierrez. Listen, oh my goodness, you guys serving the best in Latin cuisine, including arroz con gandules, Cuban sandwiches, plátano maduro, and so much more. Different inspiration of flavors from Cuba, Puerto Rico, Mexico, Colombia, and so much more. You guys have got to follow their social media at Chefito's Kitchen. Check them out at Union Grove and ask about catering services as well. Chefito's Kitchen, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, it's my boy Matt Mass with Spot On. Listen, he offers a point of sale system for all my friends who are local entrepreneurs, business owners, restaurant and bar owners as well. They offer competitive processing fees against other services like Toast, like Squire, like all of them places, and they have exceptional customer service. Because you guys know when you guys are trying to accept payments and then things just happen, you need somebody who's going to be on call that's going to take care of it, right? Spot On has got you. You want to know why? Because they give a shit about their customers. Make sure you guys hit up my boy Matt Maz with the number on the screen and the email as well. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, my boy Sid Rodriguez at Elite Barbershop located on Hewitt Drive. You can call the number on the screen to book or download the Squire app as well. And listen, you guys, walk-ins are welcome too, okay? He has Marcus Guerrero, Chris Reyes, Santos Cordova, David Rodriguez, Isaac Chavez, Clint Fletcher, Isai Reyes, Sam Ceballos, Kayla Chapa, make you look as snacks I have for more than 200 and something episodes of The Public Affair. I lost count. 135 North Hewitt Drive, Suite 121 in Hewitt. Sid Rodriguez, thank you so much. All right, guys, we got more. My very special guest, Daena Gomez, is here on The Public Affair. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
So once I moved out, got into the house that I was renting, I was like, oh. And then I still had money after I paid the car, paid the rent, the bills, bought groceries.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I still have a little bit of money for.
I can do this.
Yeah. So in the healing process, it took me a good 2 years.
Wow.
To heal from all that.
Right.
And not only that, but to re-love myself, to know who I was,
right.
the value that I was as a woman.
Absolutely.
And just everything. At that time, that's when I was in that workplace that I'm telling you that I was there overtime every day.
Yeah.
And it was mentally putting me down.
Right.
And I was sacrificing my son.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of times to where I had to call my mom and say, hey, can you pick him up? Or just anybody else.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I had to work.
Right.
So, but at the time, I was already like watching podcasts. I was already following entrepreneur people. So
right.
I was slowly switching my mindset into that.
Yeah.
And then that workplace, it was just.
Listen, she's coming after the old boyfriend, the workplace. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, you know what? Now I don't come after them because now I actually thank them.
Yeah.
Because of them, now I am, and I stand where I stand now.
You're like built for this. Yeah, for sure.
So I ended up moving to Dallas.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that was the crazy part because even mom and my parents thought I was crazy because so the way I got moved to Dallas, I got a job offer. So I went to an event in Dallas and then met, all these entrepreneur people. Mm-hmm. I walk into a room and you got all these $1 million people.
Yeah.
And then there's me that had at that time $200 in her account.
Sure.
And I'm like, what am I doing here?
Right.
But I went because I wanted to explore. I wanted to see what it was about.
Absolutely.
So I connected with other people, and then from there got the job offer. Well, my crazy self that I am, and people that know me, I was like, yeah, I accept the job offer, and I was gonna start the following week.
Oh wow!
Now keep in mind, I was renting a house. The house was fully furnished.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah. And then so after I took the offer, signed it, sent it through the email, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a week to move.
Okay. So you're moving to Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a week.
In a week, yeah.
Keep in mind, I did not have anything. I had not searched for apartments in Dallas or nothing.
I
was like, you know what? I'm not taking any of my furniture. I'm just going to sell everything.
Okay.
I'm just going to take me and my son's belongings, just our clothes, some of his toys, maybe a little tape or whatever, and I'll figure out everything else once we get there.
Yeah.
I literally that day I started taking pictures and posted everything, all of my furniture. Yeah. Which thank God it all got sold within a couple of days. And then when I told my parents, they're like, "What's you're crazy? By yourself? You and your son?" I was like, "Yes,
I got this."
And they thought I was joking. I was like, "No, Mom." So I had to show her the
job offer the letter or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's like, oh, so is this real? I'm like, yeah. So I ended up moving and everything. And that there was a whole game changer for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was obviously, Dallas is a bigger city.
Right.
It's like completely different than Waco.
Yeah.
So the type of work that I was in, it was in real estate, but it was home staging.
Oh, okay.
And they had their personal interior designers.
Right.
But it was mostly focused on home staging. And they did real estate as well.
Right.
So that was a game changer because then that's when my mind started to change. Like,
oh, I got you.
I was like, oh my gosh, I like this.
I like that. Okay.
So then I was like, okay, I want to do real estate.
Sure.
So I started to study for my real estate.
Yeah.
But then personal stuff started to happen. My dad got really sick.
Okay.
So at first, my dad nor my older brother wanted to tell me.
Yeah.
What was going on with my dad, other than I just knew that he had been in the hospital
Right,
twice,
right.
but it was just like an in and out thing. And I was like, okay. Until finally my dad told me what was going on. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, you know what? Let me pause my life.
Okay.
Let me move back.
You move back. Okay.
Because I felt like, okay, I feel like now that we're older, I think it's time for us to now take care of you guys.
Got you. Okay.
And at the time, it was my dad because my dad was sick.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, and I am really close with my dad. Like,
Yeah,
we're
sure.
peas and carrots. So I was like, I got to move. Like, let me
Yeah.
pause my life here.
Okay.
And I will come back to it.
Right.
So real estate, everything that I was doing, I paused. I ended up moving back.
Yeah.
And it was literally like God knew the moment that I had to move back because literally that week, my dad got admitted to the hospital.
Wow. Okay.
And then after that, that's where that journey started.
So
Go ahead.
is he okay now? Or?
Now, thank God,
He's okay now. Okay.
he's doing okay.
Yeah.
He's on his medications
Right.
daily. He has to go to his chemo every
Mhm.
3 weeks. So now they have a routine, but for an entire year,
Sure, sure.
it was like he was constantly admitted to the hospital.
Right.
Like he would go in for a few days,
Uh-huh.
he was let out, and then a week later he would get really sick because they
Yeah.
couldn't figure out what he had.
Right.
So it was a whole year of being with my dad,
Mm.
which my brothers were also there. All three of us were there.
Yeah.
But I felt, me personally, I was more involved.
Okay, gotcha.
So that was, how do I say it? It drains you because it's like you have doctors, you have nurses coming in.
It's one thing after another.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
one doctor tells you one thing today, tomorrow
Right.
they'll tell you another one because
Right.
based off testing. And then I would have family members every day asking me, what have they told us? Oh my gosh, I repeated myself like 100 times.
Yes. I got
So,
you.
and not only that, but seeing my dad,
Right.
the man that we knew, the hardworking man, the guy that never gave up and always never asked for help. And,
Yeah.
a Mexican man that,
Yeah.
is always
I got you.
working.
Yeah.
And seeing him, what he was going through.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that was so heartbreaking.
No, I got you 100%. Yeah.
So we went through that,
Uh-huh.
and thank God now he's a lot better.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was working, but because my dad was in a hospital,
Mhm.
there was times to where I would go visit him during lunch, and then I just couldn't go back to work.
Right.
So then I had to text my boss and tell her, hey, and I had to explain myself, right?
Right.
So, and she was like, okay. But at the same time, like, I feel like after a couple of many, hey, I'm coming back late, or
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in today.
Right.
I just felt like they were kind of pretty much sick of my
Yeah.
BS. But,
No,
I mean, it wasn't BS, but
you had shit going on.
yeah.
So
a lot of times, and I didn't expect them to understand.
Right. I got you.
Because they weren't going through
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So, but I knew they were kind of getting tired of me calling it.
It is what it is, and I'm really happy that your dad is doing well now.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
and I'm so happy that, it sounds like you just had a lot going on, and
Mhm.
one way or another, at the end of it all in this conversation, I can piece together that you truly will find a way to just kind of like turn a pile of shit into a castle. You know what I mean? Like you will.
I mean, yeah.
With all the things that you've been through, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
kudos to you. Now as far as the interior design business goes, right? Because now you're in business for yourself.
Yes.
Okay, so now you're doing your own thing with the business.
Yeah.
So I would think that you picked up a lot of that when you moved to Dallas and you were doing the home staging, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So what inspired you to keep it going here in Waco? Like why did you think here in Waco would be a good market for you?
One, because I didn't see a lot of the market of
Right.
interior design.
There's not a lot.
And and then
if they're there, we just don't know. I haven't seen.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
okay.
haven't seen.
Yeah.
I mean, like, say, you have all your realtors in Waco. I mean,
Okay.
you turn left
Yeah.
Right. And you see, you know, they're all over the place.
Yes, exactly.
I give them props because I'm going to need a home soon. So I'm going to need to
call David with a linea, David Santabanez, okay?
Yes.
Number on the screen.
So
I'll give you a
I was like, okay, I want to do something else different. But
Yeah.
at the same time, because everything that had happened to me,
Yeah.
I was like, it's time for me to build something for myself.
Gotcha.
So I've always, I think it goes back to the way I was raised.
Mhm.
My mom has always been a very clean person in the household. So she always made sure before I went out or that they could even take me anywhere.
Right.
You got to make sure the house is clean. Everything's organized. Everything has to be in its place. So that's how I was raised up to this day. So even in the apartment and the house that I live, I kept everything where it's supposed to. I was always, you know, so whenever I was like, you know, I want to do something different. Whenever that came to mind, I was like, okay. I was like, I was in Dallas.
Right.
I worked at a home staging and I loved it. I loved the home staging. Like, it was really, really good.
Sure.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do interior design. Like, I have a passion for keeping everything where it's supposed to be.
Sure.
Like,
so when you're doing interior design for the people, though, I mean, are people reaching out to you and you're telling them this is the kind of furniture you should get? This is the kind of like decorations you should get? Like, what all entails in all that?
So interior design, basically, I mean, it just, you know, it could be either a full home or it can be just a space. It can be, so it was like the one I just did recently, like maybe about 2 weeks ago.
Gotcha.
The lady just recently painted her entire home from the inside. So she's remodeling her kitchen.
Okay.
So she called me and she's like, hey, I'm going to remodel my kitchen. I was like, okay. So it can be just as simple as the kitchen or just a bathroom or, you know, whichever one.
Yeah.
So I went in and did a consultation with her. She gave me her ideas.
Mm-hmm.
She gave me her ideas, but at the same time, she was a little bit lost. So this is where I walk in.
Yeah, because we need you.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like, yes. I'm like, let me help you.
Okay.
So she's like, this is what I want. My house is all white. And I want new countertops, so I want to keep my cabinets, which is the old school that came with the house in 1960. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, do you want to paint them? Like, we're going to do white. Your house is already white. She's like, nope. I want to keep them the same brown cherry looking.
However they were. Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I mean, okay.
I like the way you said it. You're like, shit. Are you sure you don't want to change this?
And I told her, like, in the conversation, I was like, are you sure? Like, I can give you options. She's like, nope, I want to change this, but I just don't know what colors to go with. And so then from there, it's like, okay, let's figure out your countertops. And then from there, we're doing all white countertops. Mm-hmm. What about your, you know, the backsplash? Yes. So then from there, they have, you know, different options. And I explain to them and I show them, like, this is, you know, an option that you can go with. And they're like, okay. So then obviously from there, then I go back and then I take pictures of the, of the kitchen because I have the pictures of it from there. And then it's so funny because people will ask me, well, how's it going to, like, in the moment, they will ask me, like, they will want me to tell them exactly what it's going to look like. Right. But I'm the type, like, yes, I can give you the ideas, but I can't tell you exactly.
Exactly, yeah. You don't want to set an unreal expectation.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm like, once I get back, and then it literally happens. Once I get back and I get in front of my iPad, it's like my brain just starts going.
I was going to say, how do you know what design is best for what client, right? Like, so if I invited you to my home and I said, all right, Daena, like, I need you to just make this shit look good, right? Like, make it me. How could you look at me and say, okay, Andrew, this is what's going to be best for you?
Well, I'll ask you.
Or I was going to say, or do you just go with the idea?
No. So I'll ask you, okay, what colors do you like? Yeah. I mean, you know, I have to ask the questions. Like, what if I say a blue? And you're like, well, I'm not a fan of blue. Okay. I'm more of, my favorite color is red.
I think of that old show, Trading Spaces, when the neighbors would, like, the interior decorate the other neighbor's house and then sometimes they hated it. Yeah. That's got to be a nightmare, right?
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll ask you, like, what do you like?
Okay. Let's do it right now. Like, let's redecorate the studio that I'm never in.
Right.
Let's just do it. No, let's just do it real quick, right? Let's see what you got. Okay. So let's pretend this is my normal studio, okay? Okay. Now, then I don't want this brown, whatever's going on over here, okay? I don't want it to be blue because I do like blue. And I need a chandelier. Okay. So how would you what would your idea be? What would your ideal studio space be for me?
So I think the background definitely is a vibe.
Oh, you do like the background?
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely open the blinds to give it, you know, some sunshine.
But it was cloudy out today. For the record, it was cloudy out today.
It is. But it's just like, if you open up blinds or you put up the curtains, like, even I like white, but white also just brightens it up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now, as far as the lighting, I think I would go more with the warm, bright,
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what? I like what you said about the curtains too, because I have black curtains in my bedroom, and my bedroom feels depressing. My bedroom feels so depressing.
Well, in my room, I don't have black ones. I have like a dark gray, but it's like the ones that, what do you call them? The
blackout ones?
Yes, the blackout ones.
That's what I need, but I thought blackout only meant black, right? And so I bought black. I need dark gray like you or something.
Like I have the dark gray one.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
I mean, in my room, yes, I would love to have white, but when I'm sleeping or on the weekend, I want the room to be dark.
You want it to be dark?
I want it to feel,
I mean, I got you there. Have you had any nightmare clients that you've had to work with so far where you're like, oh my God, you're going to make me like my head spin?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, I want to say no. It's more on sometimes on the ideas that they have.
Yeah.
And it's like me, I'm already looking at the space, and then I'm listening to what they're telling me.
Yes.
And I'm like,
you know,
that doesn't go. But I know I don't disencourage them at the moment.
Absolutely.
I'm like, okay, I write down everything that they're telling me. But once I get back and I start designing, I go based off what they're looking for. But obviously, if you're calling me, if you're reaching out to me, it's because yes, you have an idea, but you are not 100% sure.
No, I understand completely. And you know what I always thought would be a roadblock for you, like when I was doing my homework on your career and everything like that. I feel like, excuse me, a lot of people in this town are very set in their ways, right? It's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all, right? But I think a lot of people are just like, even with the way the city is growing, I don't think that a lot of people are adapting well to it. I don't think a lot of people are receiving it well. So when you think about like somebody in your career and what you do as an interior, exterior designer, I wonder if you have a hard time, because here's the thing, right? Like you mentioned Dallas. I don't think you'd have a hard time finding clients somewhere like in Dallas, Houston, Austin, big cities, where like there's a lot of population. Okay. Right. But here in town, I fear there might be roadblocks for you in your career. Have you faced any roadblocks, or has it been better than you thought?
Well, I mean, I haven't. It's only been a little bit that I started my business, and that's where it goes back to taking the leap of faith. Right. I haven't run into that specifically, but as far as having the clients,
I got you.
Getting myself known. Yeah. Which I actually have a couple of stuff in the works. I'm not gonna mention it.
Okay. Not even a tease.
But that goes with the exterior design.
Okay.
Because
we'll keep a lookout.
Yeah. So I was.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yes, thank you. Which I didn't. I mean, interior design. Obviously, it's the inside. But when this person reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, I want to do business with you."
Do I know him or her?
It's a he.
It's a he. Is he hot? Are you in a relationship right now?
No, I am very well single and at peace.
So we can say that. Well, okay, you can't say if he's hot or not because I don't know. Does he have a wife?
Not that I know of. No, from what I know, he's single.
Well, who knows if any of these men have wives?
Especially nowadays. Nowadays, dating is so weird nowadays.
Yeah, I don't date. I don't do it. But I hopefully one day I'll get back. That was a joke, by the way. If I know you and you're working with her, much respect to you. Don't joke. Yeah. Okay.
He's a very good guy. He's
good for him. Good. And I'm happy that you have an opportunity like that. Present it to you. Yeah.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
That's great.
Because I mean, whenever he presented me the idea, and I was like, huh?
I don't know.
And then, me and my, that didn't even cross my mind because I was stuck in my interior design on just growing the business.
Absolutely.
And when he reached out to me and he was like, hey, what about this and working with me? And I was like, huh. I was like, okay. He's so like, awesome. Can you do like an example design? And I was like, or he's like, are you gonna have a problem with it? And I was like, no, I will figure it out. Like, trust me, I will figure it out.
She done figured some shit out. She could do this.
Yeah,
okay? Yeah.
So, and I was like, at first I was like, wait, can I figure it out? Right. And I was like, yeah, you can figure it out.
But doesn't that feel good too, though, that somebody recognizes like what you're doing and the hard work that you're putting into it, and they reach out to you? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
that's got to be so. Like, there's got to be a sense of validity in that.
And it was, and it's so crazy. It's like how whenever they say, and I actually saw this post just this morning or last night, that they say, and whenever you have your business, it's always the strangers that support
Yeah,
you versus
they do say that.
your friends or relatives. And he was just, I mean, I had him on Facebook. We
Sure.
were friends, but never did we ever like cross messages.
Okay.
And he just like out of nowhere just came out of the blue and,
Was
you
just
know,
checking.
say, hey, how are you? And
I
then,
got you.
and I knew the type of business he did because he was always posting.
Okay.
And then he just started talking to me on the business side.
Okay.
And I was like, huh. And then it was like one day he told me about it. And I was like, okay, I'll present it to you tomorrow. And I got to it that night.
Okay.
And I started working my magic. And I was like, hey.
You presented the next day, like you said?
Uh-huh.
Good for you, girl. Okay.
And he was like, what? He goes,
Yes.
you can do this? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, that was just a simple example.
Sure.
Now that I started messing with it, I was like, I figured out that I can do a lot more to it.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's like, okay, so now I have other stuff
just things in the works. Okay.
in the works that me personally, I don't like to speak on whenever I have something in the works.
100%. I understand. And you know what? If
Yeah.
I hope it does come to fruition for you. And, you know,
Yeah.
but, you know, obviously the best of luck. We only have a little bit of time left, but there's just one more thing real quick that I just wanted to talk about so quick. You know, as a new entrepreneur, which I think is fair to say, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, you've learned a lot. Like earlier in the episode, like the very first thing that we talked about and we joked about, and I wanted to start off with it was, you know, like, you know, I want to start with violence, and it's these people that just test our gangster, right? And, you know, some people have a hard time getting used to the change that you're making in your life because they have this perception of you that they've known for such a long time. So people are not good at adapting at that you changing, you growing, you doing things for yourself, okay?
Exactly.
And so we talked a little bit about on the phone because I've had to do this in my career, and I said I wouldn't do it. And then unfortunately, I did have to do it. You cut people off on your way to the top. Because it's even the people that you've known for years, the people that you've known for such a long time, for some reason, find it so hard to embrace the change that you're trying to make in your life. Were those things hard for you?
Yes. At the beginning, it was. Why? Because people that know me, I think we all went through that party phase.
Absolutely, girl. Who are you telling? What? I stayed at Junction. Don't play with me.
Okay. Yes.
I stayed at Junction.
Yeah.
That was me at the bar.
Yeah. So I went through that phase, and then whenever I started making these changes, and me and my mindset had already shifted onto where I knew what I wanted.
Right.
I wanted something for myself. It was very hard.
Absolutely.
And why? Because, you know, the close friends that I had, they knew me as, hey, we're doing this on Wednesday or Thursday, or we're going out this weekend.
Yeah.
And there was at the time, I personally had a hard time saying no.
Sure.
I would be like, okay, let's go.
Right.
You know.
But then it becomes distracting.
It's a distraction.
It becomes a distraction. It does. That's the cold hard truth.
Yeah. And it's like, and it gets lonely.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm going through that process of the lonely part, but I'm actually okay with it.
Right.
You know, I'm actually okay because I've actually learned to cope with being by myself after the relationships and everything, to where now to me it's like, you know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But as you're growing and you're building your own business, I feel a lot of times people don't understand. So it goes back to the people that are in their comfort zone, and I like, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
They're in their comfort zone on their jobs from 8 to 5, so that's all they know, right?
Right.
Versus us, the entrepreneurs that are building our business or have our business, I feel like we never stop working.
Right.
Because either if you don't have jobs going, you're looking to where else can you go?
Right.
Like what other clients can you reach?
100%.
Marketing, right? Because right now I wear all caps. I wear the marketing, my invoices, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time to where now I've noticed that some friends have kind of like, you know, kind of
they'll distance themselves, and it's hard. And, you know, it doesn't always have to be bad blood either. You know what I mean?
Right.
Some people are going to take it personal and be like, oh, you're stuck up now. You know,
because you have something
going. But it's not even that. Like, I need you to respect the fact that I am concentrating on this. Yeah. I don't not want to party with you, right? I don't not want to like be irresponsible. But at the same time, it's my life on the line.
Yeah.
You have to understand that.
Yes, exactly.
You have to understand that.
And that's and I haven't actually had to tell my friends because I feel like they understand.
That's good, yeah.
But there's a lot of times too where people don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't understand that part, and I feel like it's kind of hard. But I'm like, you know, at times I do feel lonely because I'm like, like all my friends are out, and here I am. Like,
it's gonna pay off in the long term.
But then I'm like, then I'm like, you know what? It's okay because I already had my party phase. I've already had that. Right now I'm focused, which I am very focused on my career. But not only that, not only for me, but I'm doing it for my son as well.
I get you. Yeah, for sure. You know what's funny too, just to end it like on a high note, I'm that person. First of all, I haven't had a drink on purpose because I am training for my CrossFit comp, which is at the end of April.
Nice.
And that's the reason why I haven't drank in like 2 months.
Mm.
But I'm that person that wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays because I'm an early bird. And the first thing I do is I go through the snaps and everybody out taking shots, bottle service, bucanans, shots at the club. And I'm like, I am sick watching this. And it's so crazy. But that was us. That was us. We used to do that.
I mean, I'm not going to say I don't go out anymore.
I don't.
That would be a lie. That would be a lie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I still go out, but now I've learned to control myself. Like, if I go out one night and I enjoy it, I'm like, okay.
Just be a little bit more responsible.
I have to.
Yeah, you have
I have
to.
a business that relies on me.
Absolutely.
So if I don't take care of my business,
yes,
who's going to take care of it?
I agree. 100%.
So I'm like, I will go out on a Friday night or Saturday night.
Okay. So you're not a total prude.
Yeah.
I get you.
So, but then I'll wait a couple of weeks before I
do it again. Yeah. Then listen, I had the best time talking to you about you and your career and some of the trials that you went through. They were so real. Some of the things that you went through and are going through are so real. And that's why, like, when you came on the show, I said, just be yourself. You know, these are things that we go through as entrepreneurs. You know, we're getting tested. We lose people that we love along the way.
Yes.
And we're constantly working. You know what I mean? And all I can end with is that I truly hope to see longevity in your career. I think that you're very gorgeous. I think that you're very well spoken, very well poised, and I can tell that you're very hardworking. And I truly hope that that translates in the years of your success in your business, truly.
Yes.
And everything that you have coming to you, you know, I really hope that you'll keep level head and that you'll continue to prosper your business. Truly.
Oh, yeah.
I truly believe that.
I pray on that every day,
Absolutely.
every morning.
How can we get a hold of you if we want to inquire about interior exterior design?
Yes, so you can find me on Facebook and on Instagram for Daena Gomez Design Studio, and there's a link on the bio. It will take you straight to my website that I'm actually very proud that I built myself.
Goodbye. Okay.
It took me many days and long hours.
You need to build me a website. I don't have the patience. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, you have. Oh, trust me. You also. I learned to have patience. So so you can find my website, and there you'll find to where there's also the form that you'll fill out, submit it, and I'll automatically receive an email.
I love
and then inquiry, and then I'll reach out to you.
I love that so much. Congratulations to you, honestly.
Thank
and I'm sorry, I wish we had 5 hours, right?
Right.
But I think you said a mouthful, and I truly do want to wish you nothing but the best in all of your endeavors. Truly, what can you leave us with? Any shout outs or anything?
No, just shout outs to everybody that supports me and friends and family.
Yes.
Yes.
And don't test her because we're coming for you.
that part.
You guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of The Public Affair. Please make sure you guys hit up my girl Daena Gomez when you're ready to do some interior designs to your property, home, wherever the case may be.
An exterior
She's working on exterior designs as well. She has some projects on the way that she couldn't tell us on the show, but whatever they are, I'm excited for when you do announce them and that they do come to fruition. And I'm so excited for you. I truly am. Truly. Yes. And thank you for coming on the show first. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Now, you guys don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I've got more on the way, of course. Now, before we go, I'm going to give a shout out to just a few of more of our sponsors of this episode of The Public Affair. This episode is brought to us by Pollo Box and Audio. My boy Jeffrey Monreal, home for all your LED needs, auto accessories, installation of stereos, door speakers, and audio system. Listen, he also specializes in building custom subwoofer enclosures and so much more. He put bass in my car. That was me in South Waco with the Cheetah Girls. That was me. I don't care. Yeah, that was me by Ali driving. Yeah, so when you hear the bass and it's something gay, that was me because Pollo Box and Audio installed it for me. Okay, you guys, make sure you guys hit him up for all your audio needs, all your car modifications and everything. Pollo Box and Audio, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. Of course, to HB Party Backdrops and Decor, my girl Ana Limones, call for all party decor, including beautiful balloon props, giving an extra flair to your party event with a number of wooden backdrops as well. They're all custom made. My girl, she be doing the damn thing, and she is 100% goated at what she does, 100% professional, reliable, and on time. Contact information is on the screen. Follow on social media, HB Party Backdrops. Thank you so much, Ana, for all your support for The Public Affair. Of course, my boy Julio Arriaga with JC Painting and Drywall LLC. Contact for all drywall and beautiful new paint for your property, both commercial and residential. His work is 100% true. His work provides nothing less than satisfaction. And just imagine, and they can make it happen to JC Painting and Drywall LLC. Muchas gracias por todo. Muchas gracias por todo. And I just want to give an honorable mention and shout out to my girl Erica Herrera, Envy Beauty Bar and Suites. Her and her team offer a full service salon, including makeup, nail tech services, lash and brows, and so much more. You guys follow them on social media, Envy Beauty Beauty Bar and Suites. Check them out at 1826 Morrow Avenue. My girl has a wonderful team of people that work with her, and she's truly a phenomenal woman. Thank you so much for all the support that you've given to me and the Public Affair. I truly, truly appreciate you, Erica. Thank you to all of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I've got more on the way. To my very special guest, Daena Gomez. Thank you so much. No, we're not cousins, but whatever we do after this, don't forget to always keep it between us. That was it.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.